Yes. Thanks for reminding that. And we are
That's a
just,
veteran move.
yes, experienced one here. Yes.
Kyle's just used to both of us pushing the button at the same time and stopping the recording.
Mm, this is definitely a thing that happens. That's why I wanted to ask before I clicked it, because I have it. I can click it, but I didn't want to ruin anything.
Yes, yes. Okay, well, I think we should get started, right? So people are going to keep joining us on the go. Well, so welcome everyone that has joined us today on this wonderful panel. I'm Lucy Abal, the person that's going to be guiding and invading of questions to our amazing speakers here. I want to present Casey Hawkins, a HubSpot consultant. Casey, you can say hi if you want.
Hi, good morning or afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world.
We have the amazing Kyle Jepson. Most of everyone that is here, most of them know you, but Kyle, please introduce yourself.
I'm Kyle, and I bet there's at least one person here who has no idea who I am, and that's totally fine. It's okay.
And then we have Russell, our amazing app king.
How are you doing, everybody? Russell, I work in the tech partnership team at HubSpot. Super fan of Supered because I think software is all about adoption. And so really excited to be here with y'all.
Fantastic. So now that you know each one of us, we are going to be helping you today with this question that we have all encountered at some point. So HubSpot is always evolving, right? We have seen last year after HubSpot, or at least on inbound event in fall, more than 200 updates of the platform. And I think Kyle's girl is getting curious also here. So everyone should be paying attention. This is our footer kit. And this 2025 so far, we have had 110 product updates and more than 47 available betas. So the main question here for everyone every day, I think, is how do we keep up? How do we get informed? How do we learn about all of these things that are changing so fast, right? So today we might have people joining us that are starting their admin path. So maybe they're not so experienced with HubSpot, but we might have other people that are more advanced that they have been working with HubSpot for a long time. So let's just go quickly over the most popular free resources that everyone has available, right? So the first thing that you need to know is the updates section in your portal, right? So you can all go into your menu, scroll down. If you click on your photo at the top right, you can scroll down into product updates, and you will see all of the news that HubSpot is launching every day. Every day you have new things to take a look at there. You have the section that the ones that are recommended for you, but we're gonna maybe dive with this a little bit deeper later. Then you have, of course, HubSpot Academy. So if you're new here, if you have started your journey on HubSpot ecosystem, there's a lot of certifications. There's a lot of new lessons that partners, users, everyone are creating there. So you might find specific or advanced content there. You also have the hugs. These are HubSpot user groups that you can join. There's a lot of different types in different regions. Some of them are in person, some of them are virtual still. We have specifically the HubSpot admin hug, that is the one that Kyle runs every Tuesday. So if you haven't been there yet, I really and strongly suggest. This is a great work that Kyle is doing. You will learn something new and different every week. And we are gonna poke you into that a little bit more, Kyle, later. Then, of course, you have bootcamps. HubSpot gives a lot of free bootcamps. You will find some of us being instructors in those bootcamps. You have super admins bootcamps, you have RevOps, you have pipeline generation bootcamps. So dedicate 4 to 6 weeks to learn, to practice, to share with other people in your same role, doing your same things and challenges. So go there and do it. Again, it's free. And again, talking about free, you have the app marketplace that we're gonna be talking a little bit more about that later. So whenever you need to integrate something into HubSpot, that is the place that you should go look first. And then, of course, we have the HubSpot community. HubSpot community is a forum where you can post your questions. There's a lot of questions over a lot of years already there. We can all exchange opinions, ways of doing things, so you can always learn there too. But I think people is not here for all of this. People is here to know our secrets. So how do we keep up to date with HubSpot? So let's just start a little bit on. We are open to no order here, so this is going to be a freestyle panel. But the first question that I want to make all of you guys is how much time do you spend on your week learning new stuff?
I can go first. Right now, I will say right now I'm spending a lot more time on it. I'm doing a morning show with Chris, so I'm spending probably at least an hour right now, specifically on what's new in HubSpot and keeping up to date in the community. Do know that having a morning show is not going to work for everyone's schedule. Prior to that, I was spending more like maybe an hour throughout the week. I like to use the weekly product roundup email. It's still technically in beta, but I think it's actually going to be fully released this week, it looks like. And that is an email that gets delivered to me Monday mornings. It has like 5 or so popular betas and updates. And I just use that as like a reminder to myself, okay, Monday morning, maybe Monday afternoon, depending on the Monday morning, we go into that and I start looking at which product updates, which things are kind of interesting and spark my curiosity and join some betas from there.
Great, thanks, Casey. Kai, how much time do you spend learning new stuff?
I mean, it's kind of a full-time job, so, but don't take that as normal. I spend a lot of time trying to communicate these things out. I do like the product roundup notification Casey mentioned. That is, I think, based on popularity. So that's a good way to make sure, like if the HubSpot user base is saying, "Whoa, this is the beta to opt into," it's probably worth your attention. Another thing to bear in mind, I also have a morning show Monday morning. I talk through literally every update from the previous week with my friend Max Cohen, and we typically take less than an hour. But I recognize that dedicating an hour to this on a weekly basis is hard. The reason I wanted to start an event for it is because I figured that would help people carve out time for it rather than trying to fit it in where you go. But if you legitimately do not have an hour a week you can spend doing this, or if it's just really obnoxious to go check that tab, one thing I would call out is on that product updates page, you can filter by impact is what it's called.
Yes.
And I'm just, I didn't tell anyone I was going to do this. I'm just going to share my screen on the fly here real quick.
We are never going to say no to you.
Huh?
We are never going to say no to you. So
great. So here's the product updates page. You get here just under your account tab, go to product updates. You can see it here. There's a new to you section. There's a recommended section. Manage release settings and notifications where you get that email Casey talked about. But look, to get to the beginning of February, I have to be on page 16, which 10 per page, that's 160. That's a lot. But keep in mind, my portal here has access to literally every HubSpot feature. Yours will be filtered to just the ones you have access to. And if we jump back, let's get to page 1. If we just filter for high impact, I really like they've added this filter. To get to the beginning of February, you just have to look at like 7. And so I would recommend at the very least, you're looking at these. Your list might be even shorter depending on your subscriptions. But you as an admin really need to know when high impact releases are coming, because those are the ones you're probably going to have to prep for. Either it's an entirely new tool that you have to figure out, are you going to adopt it? Whose job is it to run it? What setup is required? Or it is a breaking level change to a tool you have, and you really need to make sure it's not going to derail your processes. So yeah, to stay fully on top of every update coming out of HubSpot all the time, perhaps not actually possible, right? Like I do okay. I don't think I'm at 100%, and this is my job. I do my best on the HubSpot tips and tricks social channel to call out the ones that I think are most impactful. But I do one post per business day, and if there were, what did we decide, 160 releases
Yes.
in February and the little bit of March we've had so far, that is woefully inadequate, right? So I started the Monday morning briefing to talk through all of them. But the fact of the matter is, for you in your portal, there is a much smaller, more manageable subset of updates that you actually need to be caring about. They're the ones that are in the hub and tier you're currently in, right? If you are just Marketing Hub professional, this list is going to get a lot smaller. Still going to be a ton in there, but it's going to be more manageable. And then if you're only looking at these high impact changes, that's going to get you pretty far. And then if you're getting that once a week email, it really is just like 5 updates that you should be aware of because they're really popular right now. And that's probably sufficient for most people.
Yeah, that's fantastic that you mentioned because for someone that may not know this, when you click over any of those options, you get to see the description. Sometimes there's a knowledge-based article linked there so that you can go and dip a little bit deeper on how that works. So, but I love that either Casey and you, even though you both have these shows and podcasts, and even though Kyle, this is your full-time job, let's just remind people that learning takes time. It is hard. We're all there, right? So if you imagine that keeping up with HubSpot was today we were gonna share some magic trick that saying, "Oh no, I learned in 5 minutes." No, we're just here to tell you we know that's the challenge. We know that there's a lot of updates, but we're all there. So another thing that I think it's interesting that you mentioned, Kyle, is that maybe not all of those updates are for you. So I think it's cool if you want to know them, especially for us. Sometimes we are partners, we need to know them because depending on the company or on the industry, we might need to apply it or not. But if you're an admin in a specific company, you just need to take a look at them and think how I would apply this into our business. The answer might be no. So you might not need that. So don't stress to know something that you're not going to use for the moment. It might be useful at some other point, but start for the ones that, as Kyle said, might have high impact or might be super related to your business, or it's something that you have already implemented in the CRM.
And on that front, also, I would say connecting with your peers is the best thing you can do, right? Especially if you can find HubSpot admins who are in your industry. Their perspective, their opinion on what's important is going to be way more relevant to you than mine, right? Because they're doing your same job. And so I'm really excited about this Profoundly Slack community. There's also the Sprocketeer Slack community. There's the Admin Hub Deanna and I run. There are ways to find your people and connect with them. And if you can find even just one HubSpot admin who is in your industry and become friends with them, then you can puzzle through these things together. And that I think will be really valuable.
Yeah, so we mentioned a lot of communities. So we mentioned Sprocketeer. So we mentioned, of course, Profoundly community. But we also have each one of us have different people that we like following, especially maybe on LinkedIn. And I like, of course, Kyle, the show that you mentioned with Max Cohen, and Casey, what he's doing with Chris. And Chris has a lot of shows with a lot of us every day, I think almost every day or more than once a day. So we really encourage you to listen to that people, follow people on LinkedIn. And I really love also, Kyle, that during your hugs, you bring product people from HubSpot. And I think it's a great idea to connect, to go there, connect with them on LinkedIn, send them an email. So I think when you want to learn more advanced things or more advanced features, the only way is trying to speak to the right person sometimes and doing your questions and giving feedback also to the product team. Sometimes we enroll in a lot of betas and then we don't give feedback. But how is the product team going to know? How do we feel about that, or if it worked or if it didn't work? So part of our jobs to learn also is to give feedback, because if not, we are never going to get any other feedback, any other update that may solve our problems, right? So I think that is
Yeah.
also worth mentioning, right?
Yeah, and I'll say the reason product people are willing to come to the admin hug week after week is because they are so excited to talk to you. They do their best to do customer research and validate their things before they launch them, but they know that you are the ones who understand HubSpot and the implications of these rollouts better than anyone else. And they are I have never had to ask twice to get a product person to come to the hug because to have a room full of admins is such a unique opportunity for them and they want your feedback. So come to those events. Often they will just drop their email address in the chat and say, please let us know what you think of this. They are hungry to hear from you. So if you ever have feedback, even very harsh, critical feedback, don't let yourself get in the mindset of, oh, I don't want to complain. That is what makes HubSpot better. And every product manager I've ever worked with is just hungry for channels for high quality feedback from seasoned HubSpot users who understand the intent of the platform. So that's you all. So dive in.
If I
Yeah,
could jump in after that to give some perspective from the app marketplace, because we have a very different it's a very different situation because there are no product notifications out of apps. In my almost 3 years, I've managed to get 2 product notifications related to apps, and each one of them was a huge, huge win for the app partner because it's such great visibility. To your question about where do you learn about the app ecosystem, I think one of the key things is to look in the right place. And as an app partner manager, we have dashboards that show the usage of underlying apps. And I really like the feature that you flagged, Kyle, in terms of high relevance based on adoption, because that for me is one of the key things. I've been in software for a long time, and very early in my career, we joked about something called shelfware. And you'd have like a huge process where people would buy software, it came in a box, it would arrive, and they just put it on the shelf. And you're like, that's crazy insane. And that is exactly what happens today, except it doesn't go onto the shelf, it sits there unused. And so what my approach to how I can surface that on is through LinkedIn. And I have access to non-public data. I can only talk about the public things, but what I try to do is point to things that are in the public domain that highlight things that I can see in private data happening behind the scenes. And so I wanted to call out 3 categories of apps that I think are very important for admins to think about as HubSpot goes into a really, really big push on AI. If you listen to, again, coming back to like the public comments, if you listen to Yamini talking, if you listen to Karen Ng, who's one of our SVPs of product, there's a huge focus on unstructured data. And AI is great at synthesizing that unstructured data. And if you look at the app ecosystem and where that stuff is coming from, we've got 3 really, really relevant categories. The first one is product analytics. And so we made a big announcement with Amplitude last year at Inbound. You also have Segment, but in the adjacent category of session replay, you have Hotjar, Microsoft Clarity, Lucky Orange, who are all taking product data and signal and bringing that into the CRM, which for admins, you can use to trigger actions on the sales, support, and marketing side. And then you've got conversational intelligence, which is bringing in the utterances of what's happening. And I would actually also include calling in that category into the CRM. And that is going to be hugely, hugely powerful for AI plays. And so while I don't have a nice community or product notifications to point to, I would recommend, like, you can learn more by looking in the right place. And I would highly recommend looking at those 3 categories: product analytics, conversational intelligence, and calling, for really interesting things that are going to be triggering AI plays from HubSpot.
And Russell, thanks for mentioning that, because I was wondering, so we all know that HubSpot doesn't solve everything, so we are always needing integrations and adding other apps. So I think, like, as you are coordinating most of the app solution partners. So what would be the best way for any super admin to approach learning about an app? So what are the best things that app solution partners tell you?
We're trying to make it easier, is the short answer. And we're also raising the bar. I think for when I joined the app ecosystem, you could see from the reviews, again, public data, that there was feedback about apps that were not getting taken into place. And our team is surfacing that to the app partners so that they can build on it. And so we need to improve that review process because currently, if an app partner fixes that feature, we don't allow them to take down that review. And so there's definitely some process that we need to do to make that easier for admins to assess apps. I would say that overall, the bar to get listed on the app marketplace is going up and is, except for the number of active installs, is almost where it was to be certified 2 years ago. And the certification bar is going up even further. And we're putting people through recertification. And so I would definitely look for the certified badge. I would look at the reviews. I'd take it with a grain of salt. And I would also try to jump into HubSpot community forum, ask questions, see if there's other comments about apps and the problems that you're having. That's also a really interesting place to flag ideas for apps.
And I think that is fantastic what you said about look for the certification in the apps, because there's a lot of apps in the market, right? If you Google, you will find a lot of other apps that says that they connect to HubSpot, but they don't appear in the app marketplace. So just for every admin to know, if they don't appear there, it's just because they haven't gone yet, maybe, through the process of certification. So, but does that mean that we don't want them? Yeah, maybe we want them, but just be careful and just be sure. We really encourage you to trust first the ones that you see that they are certified and that you connect with the app partners. Connect, ask for a free demo, connect with them, tell them your challenge. The same way that we were talking about the product team to give feedback, do the same thing with the app partners. Test their apps, see if they are the good choice for you. So don't be afraid of that. They won't charge you for that. On the opposite, they are super eager to listen about you. So, okay, guys, so we have shared a lot of rich information with people, and I think that we're almost done here in the time. So we're going back to the main stage. So thank you again, each one of you. Thanks, Casey. Thank you, Kyle, for your time. Thanks to you, Russell, for being here and reminded us about the apps. One last thing that I would like to say for everyone is don't be afraid of testing things. If you can, have a demo portal, have a sandbox, try the apps, connect with the people, do some testing, because that is the only way that we can learn, right? So don't be afraid of that without breaking anything in your portals, but doing it in a safe environment. But keep learning and keep trying and testing. So with that said, and with Casey's dog joining us, we will see you back at the main stage. Thanks again, guys. Thanks for sharing all your expertise and to help admins navigate these difficult times with new product updates every day.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.